Hello there, welcome back to Marcelian Online and hope you brought a pen and paper because we will give you 5 of the most fun melee specs to play that absolutely destroy the meters, how to play them, what gear to get, talents, and a simple rotation to start you off because we are just halfway through the season and with the corruptions added, together with the buffs to certain specs, it's time to rock and roll. A quick disclaimer for people trying to push endgame content. Although what we will give you is a good way to go about it, this is not a guide on how to play these specs perfectly at high end, but rather an attempt to make it easy for returning players or new contenders to these specs to pick them up and not have to worry about reading pages upon pages of theory crafted guides, of which there are a bunch of, and we do recommend it if you do decide to master any of these specs eventually. Also, we have a Patreon that supports these videos. Cheers, link down below. Starting it off with maybe the most exciting spec this week, Fury Warrior, that just received some new buffs. For that, you can check our video on it and all the class tuning this week, because for now, I will tell you that your Fury will look for Mastery and Haste gear specifically to start off in all of the slots you can afford to get these stats, especially with crafted gear that can go all the way to 681 item level. Side note, we asked last week for people to like the respective video if you also wanted a super quick and simple way to gear fast in 11.1.5. So if you're still interested, we didn't get that many likes, but if you're still interested in getting a quick, easy way to get a lot of gear really quick with all of the catch-up systems implied, then hit the like button, would appreciate it. Your best trinkets to either individually farm or buy with puzzling cartel chips will be Improvised C4ium Pacemaker and House of Cards. Another thing we recommend if you want to just get everything, your Horrific Visions head enchant will be Lesser Rune of the Void Ritual, which honestly will likely be the best for all specs anyway. As for the talents to use, which you can find the import link for in the description, this will be your raid setup. It will use Slayer talents, focusing on Execute and Bladestorm playstyles. It's honestly pretty fun and has been doing pretty well in overall DPS in the last couple of weeks, giving Fury all the way an A-tier status in raids. For Mythic Plus, you will be a Mountain Thane, Chad, with this build, despite the newest buffs to Odin's Fury. The buffs Fury got are definitely good, but not enough to change your Mythic Plus build to a better one, just to a different one, and since it's too early to tell how much better it is, use this one we are showing you right now since it's been used to push plus 18s and 19 keys as Fury Warrior. It's solid and reliable and stuff that the top warriors have used to clear all of those dungeons. While in single target with your Slayer hero talents, you want to start by using Recklessness and Avatar just before you charge to generate more rage, then immediately Rampage and hit Blade Storm. Follow it up with 2 Raging Blows to generate enough rage and buffs for your next Rampage, which in turn you follow it up with a Thunderous Roar and Bloodthirst. After this, always remember that you want all your big abilities like Blade Storm and Roar to be used while inside Rampage, and that your Bloodthirst will hit harder in execute phases than your actual execute. Things change in AoE with Mountain Thane, where you will still charge and only after pop your Avatar and Recklessness, Rampage after, followed by Ravager, Thunderblast, Roar, Rampage again, Bloodthirst, and Thunderblast again, ideally always when enraged. With Thane, you need to remember 2 different things as a Fury Warrior. One is that your Thunderclap and Thunderblast respectively are your AoE applications and not Whirlwind anymore, aka never hit Whirlwind as a Mountain Thane. And the second is that you will never press execute again, since Bloodthirst is even stronger here. Good job! Now you are a properly diagnosed angry nerd. Zug zug! If Fury isn't your jam, let's check out something with a bit more class. My main, Windwalker Monk, which oddly wants the exact same stats with Mastery and Haste above anything else, with the exact trinkets as your best in slot. Crazy, huh? Get your Pacemaker and House of Cards with priority at the highest item level you can afford, and slap a Void Ritual head enchant for good measure. Your talent builds are actually very similar. Both raids and dungeons will be using Conduit of the Celestials. For the raids, you want this build right here with a bit more single target damage and some cleave, since most raid fights have cleave one way or another, while Mythic Plus will use this one instead. There are actually quite a few variations to both of these, but that would overly complicate this video. However, for any of these specs, if you are interested in more details, hop on our stream on twitch.tv/Marcelian&Online and we can chat directly there. For the rotation, assuming you understand you never cast the same ability twice in a row and you have to put both Rising Sun Kick and Fists of Fury on cooldown for Whirling Dragon Punch, here is what you do. You start with Tiger Palm, Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Storm Earth and Fire, Invoke Zhuen, Strike of the Windlord, Fists of Fury, Sun Kick, Whirling Dragon Punch, Spinning Crane Kick, Slicing Winds, Celestial Conduit, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, Fists of Fury, Sun Kick, Whirling Dragon Punch, and then continue to always use Strike of the Windlord if it can immediately be followed by Fists of Fury for the Heart of the Jade Serpent buff. Never rush to cast Spinning Crane Kick unless you are at 2 stacks and are about to use an ability that consumes chi. And I am already going into so many details. Sorry, it's my main and I love it. Hey, so the next one I wanted to talk to you about is Enhancement Shaman, and guess what? You want Mastery and Haste on this guy as well. And as for the trinkets, can you take a guess which ones are the best ones? Well, seeing as how people can just skip to the spec they want and likely haven't watched the whole video by now, shame by the way, you want C4M Pacemaker and House of Cards as your best trinkets, with Void Ritual as the head enchant. Moving to the talents, this is what you want to use for the raid build, the Totemic playstyle in short, and for Mythic Plus the same hero talents actually, with a few different AoE talents sprinkled in. You might see people play Stormbringer, and although it's likely better, it is by a very small margin, and people usually get that despite their enjoyment of it. Stormbringer is fun, don't get me wrong, and if you end up loving Enhance and want to explore more of it, I strongly recommend you play it. But it is drastically more difficult for a very insignificant gain for a new Enhanced Shaman. As for the rotation, I will try to make it as simple as possible. For your opener, put down your Surging Totem and fire out a Flame Shock. Feral Spirits next and Storm Strike after. And if you are an AoE, replace Storm Strike with Crash Lightning. Primordial Wave, Elemental Blast after, with as many Maelstrom stacks as you can, ideally 10. Doom Winds next. Sundering here until it goes on cooldown, and if you are in AoE, but for the raid build you ignore this step. Lava Lash next, and if you are in AoE, you will keep spamming Lava Lash until its cooldown reduction proc is gone, and Primordial Storm last with 10 Maelstrom weapon stacks. That was the opener, and we are only doing this for Enhancement because Enhancement is a very difficult spec, and as such, once you are done with the opener, the priority is the same for both single target and AoE with 1 or 2 minor differences. From the most important spell to the least, you use Surging Totem, Flame Shock, Feral Spirit, Primordial Wave, Doom Winds, Primordial Storm, Lava Lash if you have the Hot Hand proc, spend Maelstrom Weapon with Elemental Blast if it's up, otherwise either Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt based on the number of targets, Crash Lightning if you are in AoE build, Lava Lash, Storm Strike, Flame Shock as a filler, and Frost Shock otherwise. It might take a bit to get used to the spec, but I assure you it is a damn blast. Are you tired of people wanting you to go balance because they want big AoE, Mark of the Wild, and Combat Resurrect? Fuck 'em. Play Feral instead. It does crazy AoE damage, has all of the Druid bits, and an easy interrupt as opposed to balance. The stats are a bit more balanced than the rest of the specs here, with Mastery being on top, go figure, followed by Crit and Haste, which for some of the top players can be swapped with each other. I would recommend Crit to start off, and if you still play Feral in a month's time, you will be able to tell for yourself if Haste has a place. This time, the trinkets will be slightly different. The C4M Pacemaker is still there as a choice, but the second one will be the Signet of the Priory. This is mostly due to the fact that Signet has a 2-minute cooldown just like your Berserk cooldown, while House of Cards is only 1.5 minutes, making it not really align properly. Don't forget your Void Ritual head enchant by the way. As for the talents, you want to get mostly similar with the exception of the hero talents and like one capstone. Okay, maybe more than just one capstone. Your raid build will look like this, as you will be playing Wild Stalker. The added bonus of Feral Frenzy and Lunar Inspiration will make it easier to get blood talents, which is maybe the main thing people have a concern about when picking up the spec. Your M+ build will be Druid of the Claw, which brings with itself a new ability that will replace your bite as it procs. Both have Convoke in, which is awesome because Convoke is cool. Has always been cool, will always be cool, and a fun part of your rotation. Speaking of, you want to start combat from Stealth, ideally, and then Rake, Brutal Slash, Moonfire if in single target, otherwise Thrash in AoE, Adaptive Swarm, Pop Berserk, Tiger's Fury, apply Rip with Rip in single target or Primal Wrath in AoE, Feral Frenzy here if you have it talented, spend your combo points on a bite, Convoke here, ideally with as few combo points as possible, and after this you continue to build combo points and spend them ideally by using 3 different builders, always to never drop blood talents. Keeping Rake on multiple targets if present, using Moonfire if you have the Lunar Inspiration talent, and consuming your procs of Apex Predator as they happen. Ravage for Druid of the Claw as well. There's a lot more to go in depth when it comes to the cat rotation to optimize, of course, but we will leave that for another video. Last but not least, Unholy. But wait, it's not what you think. Neither Marcelian nor I enjoy Sand Lane and think it's a boring RNG rotation that is heavily dependent on gear, so we will recommend you play a different version of Unholy from the meta one. Before we get into the talents, as your stats, you want to go for Mastery first and then Haste. Yes, we are back with the original stats. The trinkets will be the House of Cards and a Delve trinket this time with Suspicious Energy. That mastery cannot be overstated, man. And as always, the Void Ritual Horrific Vision enchant. And now we get to the talents. We don't like Sand Lane, but Sand Lane is better. This video is not about better, it's about having a good time and still doing giga damage. Now, even though Rider of the Apocalypse is weaker, it's not that weak. Unholy DK still clear mythic raids with it, with over 3 million DPS on single target and keys around +17s. The cool part about Rider is 2 parts, actually. The fact that you have a pony to ride at super speeds, and that there are 4 to 5 different talent builds with different playstyle strengths and weaknesses to have fun with. Yeah, it's a shame that Sand Lane just has the same dumb rotation in all content, which by all means you are welcome to play. As far as we are concerned, you will use these talents in Raid, which play the normal Unholy playstyle you may have engaged with or seen in the past, while your Mythic Plus build will be this, a simple, no setup required playstyle of just putting down your Defile, Disease and slamming. Good for starting out and not requiring huge ramp ups that will slow your DPS down or overly complicate things. You start combat by making sure your Ghoul and Abomination are up, Pop Slappy Hands, Death and Decay, Dark Transformation, Unholy Assault, Apocalypse, and then continue to not cap Runic Power by spending it on Death Quells. Make sure the target always has 2 to 3 Festering Wounds up by using Festering Strike if they drop at any point. And pop runes and your Chains of Eyes from your Horsemen with Clawing Shadows, your Scourge Strike replacement. And this is for the Raid build. For Mythic Plus, it's even simpler. You still get your pets up, Slappy Hands, Dark Transformation, Unholy Assault, and only then Defile, since you want to optimize your AoE the most, and Defile is how you hit multiple enemies at the same time. You want to make sure your Plaguebringer buff is always on by Scourge Striking. Your diseases can be reapplied with Outbreak if your Dark Transformation and Abomination still have more than 7 seconds of cooldown left. Pop your wounds on targets while inside your Defile, spend your Sudden Doom and General Runic Power on Epidemic when fighting 5 targets or more, if not Death Coil will be just fine, and make sure you reapply wounds on the enemy with the least amount of them. And of course, always spend your Festering Scythe procs whenever you get them. Once you get used to it, the rotation will happen naturally and it will keep you awake at the very least. But of course, this is our take on the specs in the hopes of making it fun for you to get started with Season 2. But there are definitely easier ones to pick up. like the ones we talked about last week in this video, which also includes a tank and a healer spec in case you want to branch out.